Sheriff Julianne Catherine Schreiber sat in her truck sipping a tall coffee as she stared at the casino lights that accented the downtown strip of Ely like a hopeful gasp for attention. In her youth, she had been much more impressed with those lights, but Vegas and Reno had ruined her, she knew. She normally worked the day shift, a perk of her position, but she had agreed to fill in for one of her deputies when the man called in sick. With a city population of just over 4,000 and a county census of 10,000, not much happened in White Pine County that couldn't be handled by a few deputies, even on a Friday night like this. Her radio suddenly squawked and dispatch said, "Sheriff, we've got reports of shots fired," said a calm woman's voice. Not much rattled Christy Jones, who had worked dispatch for White Pine County for more than 25 years. Julianne's mind quickly went to a possible source. It was October 14th, and deer season was in full swing. Since Ely sat at the center of 4 major hunting units, many hunters used the city as a base camp. Some hunters thought they still lived in the Old West. She picked up the mic and pushed to talk. "Roger that. You got a location?" Pause. Then the dispatcher said, "One said Pinwheel and 2 others said Avenue M." Julianne started her truck and hit the lights, pulling out onto the main drag of town and slamming the gas. Then she turned on her siren and powered towards South Highway 93. Back on her radio, Julianne said, "I'm rolling. Can you be more specific? Avenue M runs from 93 to a dead end by the railroad tracks. That's over a mile long." The 911 calls came from homes on Mountain View and 15th. She slowed, turned on to 93 South, and then powered her truck up to 50 in just seconds. Running the streets through her mind, she knew that was nearly a mile down Avenue M, but there weren't many houses down in that area of town. After turning left onto Avenue M, she turned off her siren and slowed her truck slightly, her eyes open for anything out of the ordinary. It could have been kids messing around, she thought. Nothing to get too concerned about at this time. At nearly midnight, there were no cars on these residential back streets. She slowed the truck more and turned off her emergency lights. She got back on the radio and almost called the dispatcher by name. "Dispatch, any other 911 calls?" "2 more," dispatch said. Both pinpointed the shots to the old Randolph Ranch. The Randolph Ranch dated back to the days of the stagecoach. The Randolph family had provided horses to the stagecoach company, the Pony Express to the north, and to the mining companies. "Who owns the place now?" Julianne asked. She could see a light from the old ranch seeping through a cluster of trees ahead on the right. "Still in the name of Lily Randolph," the dispatcher said. "She married that fellow from out of town last year." Julianne remembered. "The guy who owns the coffee shop downtown." "That's right. I'm rolling up the driveway now," Julianne said. The house itself was dark. The only light came from a post out by the unattached garage where a newer Toyota truck sat. She hit her emergency lights again to make sure anyone in the house would not mistake her for an intruder. Nearly every resident in the county was armed and knew how to use their guns. For all she knew, the residents had been shooting out in the field to scare coyotes. Getting out of the truck, Julianne unbuckled the holster holding her Glock 17 on her right hip. Then she slipped her flashlight from her service belt and turned on the light, pointing it toward the dark house. When she heard something scuffle to her right, she drew her pistol and pointed it toward the right side of the house. It had to be an animal, she thought. Now she moved toward the front steps that led to a wraparound covered porch. The screen door was closed, but the front door, an old weathered wooden entry, was ajar halfway. The wooden frame, with fresh white visible, had been kicked in. With her left hand, Julianne pushed her mic and said, "Send back up, pronto." Then she opened the screen door with a slight creak and stepped into the house. She yelled that she was the sheriff and was responding to shots fired at this location. No response. She moved through the living